Hello and welcome. Thank you for visiting the Laydan Engine YouTube channel. Here, you'll find detailed tutorials on engine building, repair, and upgrades, including how to create a 3-cylinder engine from old parts. We hope you find valuable knowledge and inspiration for your projects. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos. Enjoy watching and learning. To create a 3-cylinder engine from old parts and require precision in cutting, grinding, and welding, you need to carry out very detailed and accurate steps. Not only assembling the parts, but also machining the components so they fit and work properly. Here's a more detailed guide on the cutting, grinding, and welding process and related steps. Step 1. Preparation and inspection of old parts. Inspecting old parts. Before starting cutting, grinding, and welding, you need to carefully check the old parts you have. Identify which parts are reusable and which parts need repair or replacement. Check for precision. Make sure parts like the crankshaft, cylinders, pistons, and cylinder heads are still in good condition. If there are any signs of wear or damage, you may need to repair or replace them. Step 2. Cutting and grinding the parts. Cutting and grinding is a crucial process to ensure parts can be assembled precisely and fit together properly. This needs to be done with high accuracy to prevent reducing the engine's performance. Cutting and grinding the engine block. If you're using an old engine block and want to convert it to a 3-cylinder engine, you may need to cut and drill the positions to create 3-cylinder chambers. To do this, you'll need to use CNC drilling machines or milling machines to cut and shape the cylinder chambers accurately. Measuring and determining the correct position for each cylinder is very important. The distance between the cylinders must be precise to avoid misalignment during operation. Cutting the old cylinders. If you're reusing cylinders from other engines, you might need to cut or machine them to fit them into the engine block. You'll need a precise cutting tool and carefully measure the size of each cylinder to ensure they fit properly. Cutting other components. Connecting rods. If the connecting rods from the old engine are too long or don't fit with the new crankshaft, you'll need to cut them down so they fit. Measure the exact length and angle of the connecting rods to ensure they align with the pistons and crankshaft. Cylinder heads and valves. If necessary, you can also cut or machine the cylinder heads to ensure the intake and exhaust valves operate efficiently and don't leak gases. Step 3. Welding and machining the components. After cutting and grinding, the next step is welding and machining the components so they are securely connected and meet the required specifications. Welding the crankshaft. The crankshaft may need to be welded or machined to fit the number of cylinders. In some cases, you will need to weld the joints between different sections of the crankshaft, especially when reusing crankshafts from different engines. The welding should be strong and precise, and after welding, check the crankshaft's straightness to ensure it rotates smoothly without distortion. Welding other parts. If certain components need to be reworked or new positions created for fuel lines, cooling systems, or electrical systems, welding or connecting them may be necessary. For instance, welding fuel lines, cooling pipes, or electrical connectors to make sure the components are securely attached and won't leak or get damaged during operation. Welding the cylinder heads. In some cases, if the cylinder heads don't fit or are damaged, you may need to weld or repair them. Ensure that the valves, cylinder heads, and related components are welded precisely to avoid any leakage during combustion. Machining connecting rods and pistons. The connecting rods may need to be machined to fit the proper length or angle of the piston. Welding and machining should ensure these parts can move precisely in the cylinder chambers without excessive friction or wear. Step 4. Assembling the components. After cutting, grinding, and welding. After the cutting, grinding, and welding processes, you can begin assembling the parts into the engine block. Installing the crankshaft. Ensure the crankshaft is properly welded or machined, and the connecting rods can move freely without any issues. Installing the cylinders and pistons. Make sure the cylinders are correctly positioned and the pistons can move smoothly without being stuck or causing excessive friction. Installing the cylinder heads. Attach the cylinder heads to the correct positions, mount the intake and exhaust valves, and check for a proper seal between the parts. Updating connections and auxiliary systems. Ensure that the cooling, fuel, and electrical systems are connected properly and there are no issues during operation. Step 5. Testing and trial runs. Check welding and joints. After assembling the parts, carefully inspect the welded and joined areas to ensure there are no leaks, especially in high-pressure components like the fuel and exhaust systems. Test the engine for stability. Start the engine to check if all the components are functioning properly. Listen for engine sounds, monitor temperature, and check oil pressure to ensure everything is running smoothly. Important notes: welding and machining expertise. Welding and machining should be performed by professionals because the precision in these steps directly affects the engine's durability and performance. Workplace safety. Cutting, welding, and machining involve risks, so strict safety precautions should be followed. The process of cutting, welding, and assembling engine parts is very complex and requires high technical skills. Make sure you have the right tools and knowledge to carry out these steps accurately and effectively. Let's check out the results together. We've put in the effort, and now it's time to see how everything has come together. Whether it's the 3-cylinder engine or another exciting project, let's take a look at what we've accomplished. Enjoy the final result.